This is another news for Friday, September 30th, 2011. And other news is not brought to you by Jack Daniel's Honey Whiskey. When you watch Ion, make sure you have some. Welcome to In Other News. I'm Iyaz Akhtar.
I'm Tony Wang.
And I'm Liz Romero.
This is the show where we discover the uncovered stories in tech and sometimes, very rarely, some science. And, you know, the big stories happen all week, and they just push these stories away. They fall out of the lineups, and the fact is, we're here to fill in the cracks, you know? Because every now and then, so the big CEOs get fired, mergers happen, there's patent lawsuits. We don't cover that stuff. So if you're sick of patents, watch this show. Let's talk about RIM. Now, you might have heard that the RIM playbook prices were slashed, but you might not have heard that RIM actually explained its capabilities to run Android apps. Now, they have a thing called Android Player, but it turns out it's going to be kind of disappointing. It can't run SIP or VoIP. It can't run apps that rely on Google Maps or Android text-to-speech. It doesn't support in-app billing services. So pretty much everything cool about Android apps that people made, you can't use on a playbook once this thing actually goes live. So they just basically shot themselves in the foot. They have a great piece of hardware. You're supposed to have App World and Android Market, and you really can't run much. I mean, would you buy a playbook? Anybody would buy a playbook now after knowing this? Or
well, I mean, it is $299, but you were right about shooting themselves in the foot. I mean, this is the second time that they shot themselves in the foot. So.
They released the product not ready.
Right. That
was the first thing. I know that when people got it, like Tom and Leo, the first thing you had to do with the device, upgrade the firmware, or you couldn't use it.
Exactly.
You would just turn it on and it would just be.
And that took forever. That was a couple hours.
It was a 230 megabyte update, the first one. So if you were really hoping, if you were excited about running Android on QNX, no, not really. I mean, there's some applications that'll work, but playbook, would you want a playbook? 2 cameras on it. Doesn't run any applications, but 2 cameras on it.
Fancy. No, I'm not going to do that. I haven't got a tablet, and I'm not going to have that be my first one.
How about you, off-screen, Lisa? Would you buy a tablet from RIM?
Well,
now
no, you played with the playbook.
She has one.
You have a playbook?
My son wouldn't even play with it.
Her son wouldn't play with it. That's what I'll tell you.
When you can't, Michael's still 8, right? Okay, if it does not satisfy an 8-year-old, that is a problem. We're not going to ask Lisa how old she is at all.
Alrighty then. Also, the night is the right time for watching TV. Yes, that's been said. Also, serving web and playing with apps. A chart from Flurry, a mobile analytics company, took a look at mobile app usage during the course of a usual day and compared it with television and internet usage. As the day progressed, TV internet usage spiked. Yes, it's spiked, not just, flurried, but spiked. On the hours between 7 p.m. and 11 p.m. Strangely, mobile app usage also spiked at the same time. So how do you guys watch TV? Are you playing with your mobile devices? Are you multitasking? Do you multitask?
I wouldn't call it multitasking. It's kind of like not paying attention to 2 things at once.
I call it ADHD.
Yeah.
I need stuff to entertain me. I can't, if I know it, I need something else or else I'm just wandering.
Do you use a laptop when you watch TV, or are you on a tablet, or if you had a tablet?
A tablet or cell phone. Yeah.
So you use a mobile operating system.
Right.
Would you bring out this 8-pound monster?
Don't be mean
the
to
satellite?
It. It might die.
10 pounds.
It's old.
Oh, it's a vintage PC for those of you who are wondering again.
Be nice to it.
Anyway.
I don't want to put her in a nursing home yet. It's not there.
But I mean, just you're watching TV. You got a large screen TV, or even something that's probably larger than a tablet. Why would you just be constantly looking down at something else? It's like IMDb disease.
What are you doing during commercials? Are you like, oh, I'm so interested in what that commercial says. I'm going to buy that product. You're not doing that. Are you doing that?
What commercials? How are you watching commercials?
Certain things I'm going to watch. You know me, I mostly watch DVDs, but certain things I'm going to be like, this is entertaining to me. And there's certain parts during movies where you're like,
no,
there's no commercials on Netflix.
I think it's an IMDb disease. Like when you watch something, like I know that guy. What's he from? What's he from? And then you're like, you whip out your phone. You're like,
touche.
He was on Happy Days from one episode.
I can't remember the last time I didn't have IMDb and I'm watching a TV show and I was like, that guy is also in that one movie. What did we do back then? How did we get over that?
I think we just asked each other until someone would say, would you just shut up and watch the movie?
Well, we would call somebody, be like, hey,
our landline.
Sorry.
Yeah.
No, I don't think people know what to do without the internet at this point. Like if you have to go to like a new town, you're like, hey, how do I find out what hotels are good? No, like you had to get a phone book
You
or
call
some kind
grandma and be like, "Hey, grandma, remember many years ago?" No, grandma didn't stay there.
a
That's
hotel
okay.
guide. You know, one of the devices you could have used while you were sitting there with your TV was the HP Touchpad Go, which was unceremoniously dumped. It's now like an asterisk in the history of technology. But Pre-Central got itself some interesting specs about the Touchpad Go. Now, it's you can see right there, it's all splayed out. You can see some slides they picked out. The buttons were reoriented for landscape use. The buttons on the old touchpad were for a vertical thing. Now, the Go would have been the first Wi-Fi WebOS tablet to include GPS. And get this, they partnered with Navigon, so you could actually have Navigon GPS software built right in. So if you're going on a trail, you could use the dual cameras, to document your thing, your little event. It's supposed to come out in the fall. We're supposed to have the same processor as the current touchpads, a gigabyte of RAM, 16 or 32 gigabytes, and a 5-megapixel camera on the back and a 1.3 on the front. I'm still sad that the Touchpad Go doesn't exist. I like this thing, and nobody else will ever buy one because they basically left their supply chain partners in the cold.
Yeah.
Because they had the parts, they made it, but nobody's going to actually buy one.
It could have been very interesting. 4-factor.
Would you have used it while watching TV? Or GPS? Would you be walking around with the Touchpad Go? Nobody wants to go with the Go?
I think I could just see Tony using it as one of those things where he scrolls to say words, or like Canada. I could just see Tony use. You always use your iPad, all of a sudden randomly you're just like holding
Canada.
it.
Yes, Canada.
Yes.
Yeah. Love Canada.
Well, I don't know. I'm still very curious about the whole Touchpad Go. And the whole touchpad...
Did you get your touchpad in? What's
No.
going on with... Because I still haven't got my email from...
I'm figuring, look, if I'm going to end up spending money for no reason whatsoever, I'm going to pick up the Kindle Fire. Because why not?
I ordered it.
Yeah, because could you explain to the audience how you made your decision making?
The reason why I've been wanting it for a while, ever since hearing it, and then of course, I had to make sure I got his enlightened point of view. I'll use that wording. Enlightened point of view.
Enlightened. And what was my brilliant idea?
We flipped a coin.
You
but
did?
we did it like football, man. I let that thing fly and I just let it hit the ground. And it said yes, man.
Yeah, it was
Points
If you
vote.
did it like football, you would have flipped it and forget to call it. And it would have landed. You would
Hey,
been
man,
like, oh.
at first I'm like, what should it be? Is heads yes or no?
Well, heads was the first option, and that's yes, and they
Yeah.
landed on yes. And I know that everybody here, pretty much except me, bought one. I'm waiting for something called a review first. I would like to see a review of one before I go and plunk down $200 on something like that. Now's the time where we would have an ad if we ever had a sponsor, and we'll pretend that we have, we'll do United Moon Colonies again. It's not even in the sheet, so Jeff's going to go crazy. UnitedMoonColonies.squarespace.com, where you can check out a book called United Moon Colonies.
Who is it by? I hear it's by someone that's very old and tall.
It's a tall guy.
A tall person.
I think
Very tall.
Beard.
Yeah, Thomas Merit. He's an
Merit.
unknown writer. It's the
French.
second book.
Is he French?
And from what I know, the book is about United Moon Colonies. Now, if you want to get the book and you want to pay Tom, you can. If you want to say, I just want to read the book for free, you can do that. You can even listen to an audio version of the book for free, narrated by Tom Merritt, and he does some of the female voices, but I've heard that Veronica Belmont also participated in some of the narration. So if you want to know about colonies that are on the moon, that are united, you know what to do.
Are there some that aren't united?
I don't know. You'll have to read.
To be continued.
There's also one on the set, so we'll just go steal that sometime.
Yeah, where is it? I'll grab it now.
Yeah, and if you like to listen to music while you're reading, you can check out Spotify. I don't use it personally, but Spotify has an update which allows private listening mode, where you can listen to music without your Facebook friends.
But Ashton Kutcher uses it, so that's
sorry.
all that matters. Ashton Kutcher?
Oh, he does.
Yes.
Ashton Kutcher.
He will let the link be on his Twitter. Recently, because of the recent rumors of him and his wifey, he recently put a song on that Everything's Fine. Yes. Don't assume.
Now, the thing about Spotify is that if you want to have a new Spotify account, you have to link it with Facebook.
Right.
So that ticked off a lot of people because once you listen to a song, it goes in the ticker.
Yeah.
So let's say you like to listen to Kesha, and you're a host of a podcast, and you're like a serious, tough kind of person, and you're like, I don't want people seeing that. You can actually turn on the private browsing. That's what you call it, private listening. It's very much like the porn mode in a browser. They didn't call it that.
Your guilty pleasures
It's
are
porn
just...
mode for your Facebook.
So your dirty laundry is just out there for everyone to see. All your
Right.
guilty pleasures. Everyone knows that, oh, Britney Spears I listened to? No, I didn't.
It's like
what
you
are
listen.
talking about?
You listen to "Let Me Go" or whatever
2
it's
songs.
called. Yeah, admit it.
There's only a couple songs I like. Besides that, I don't like her face.
Well, it's just audio only. Would you ever turn off private listening mode then if you had this option?
Isn't that kind of counterintuitive? You're trying to be, you're socializing on Facebook, and you're using this service that
Yeah.
requires Facebook, and yet you don't want to share it.
Well, I think that's the question. Are you using Spotify just to listen to music, or do you want to be social with it? I mean, there's a lot of different ways to listen to music
Right.
without being social.
Yeah.
But Spotify really put all its eggs in one basket with Facebook.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I was lucky enough to get Spotify way back before they required the Facebook integration. So my music doesn't show up on Facebook.
Do you use Spotify? I mean, I don't use Spotify, so it's hard for
No,
me to.
I just still use Pandora
Okay.
for everything. High five, air high five. Oh, yeah. No.
I'm going to get hurt right here. Let's talk about market shares. This is always fun. A company called Chitika, not to be confused with Chiquita, the banana company. This company checked out market share in August, and check this out. Mac OS X grabbed 1%, went from 9.6 to 10.6% of the market out there. It's actually quite the big jump. Now, of course, people are extrapolating this to say, if this rate continues, OS X will be up to 12% by the end of the year, because it would gain 1% every month, which is obviously ridiculous.
Right.
There's a chance that maybe people bought OS X machines for going back to school, because they do that weird little
The
promotion.
back to school promo with free iPod. Yeah.
Not iPod anymore. It was a $100 iTunes credit. So it's even less than an iPod. Yeah, exactly. That face.
That's the face that you just want to... Yeah.
That was the reaction by many.
It's horrible.
It's still not bad. $100 for buying a laptop. So it's like getting a laptop off. But do you think that that OS X is taking over the world? No? Yes? We got 2 out of 3 here running OS X.
My prediction would be that it will take over the world even more next year when they integrate more iOS into the OS X, and then
But that doesn't work.
eventually they'll just call it one OS.
No,
And then
iOS lost some percentage over the month from 5.5 to 5.2%. So maybe people don't want iOS. They're like, I don't want this. Besides, I mean, you don't want to touch your screen. I don't want to do that.
I'll do it. Mine's ancient.
I
It's
do it
okay.
all the time.
They call it Gorilla Arm. You're always like,
You know,
who
I
wants to
actually
do that?
Funny story. So I tried that for a week using a Bluetooth keyboard
Yeah,
on
on
my
an iPad.
iPad. It was fine. It wasn't. They were not that far apart. The keyboards were right in front of the screen. I was.
You were okay with the Gorilla Arm thing?
Yeah, it was. It
You're-
wasn't that bad. I mean, I was doing a lot of.
You're plainly,
Everything hunky-dory.
I'm sorry. What? Hunky-dory?
you're plainly a mutant.
Yeah.
All right. And Sony is going to stop paying for movie theater 3D glasses. Theater owners fire back. They're firing back. They're fighting back, man. Sony decided to annoy movie theaters by telling them that the theaters have to pay for 3D glasses. Yeah, no, they were paying for it, not the movie theaters. They
Right.
were eating that cost. Previously, Sony and other studios paid for the glasses so people could watch the 3D movies. They were trying to push it, promote it, do it, spend more money. We will pay for some of that cost. Do you guys think that the other studios will follow now, since Sony is, here, I am following the leader? Anything? No? Right?
I would think other studios might not do this move. I mean, Sony, they've been in a lot of trouble in general, so they want to cut costs everywhere throughout their whole company. So for them to do it, I understand that. For other studios, depending on how they're doing, I don't think they want to do that just yet, because they still want to push the 3D movies. Like, otherwise, what would happen if all the studios stopped? Would you bring your own glasses?
I would bring my own. I would actually go out. I'm sure there'd be a whole new market for it. I would want the Harry Potter ones that I didn't get, that you told me about, that I cry about at night, that I didn't get.
Oh,
They're
I
already-
didn't know you were gonna cry about it.
Because I
would
love
have
Harry
told
Potter and
you.
I like 3D movies.
They're already.
Maybe Sony's pushing to have consumers buy their own Sony branded 3D glasses and bring it to their movie.
That's possible. I know that Sony and Samsung and a whole bunch of companies have a standard now for
Right.
active glasses.
Right.
So you don't, because before for 3D televisions there was no standard, so your glasses would be incompatible with other manufacturers, which
Right.
makes, again, a lot of sense in the world. Then when you introduce a new thing like 3D television that people don't want to buy, that they're incompatible with each other. So I don't know if they would make Like, would you? I mean, I wouldn't bring it from home. I wouldn't. What if you forgot? You have to make sure. Like, you have to check everybody. Did you bring your 3D glasses? Did you bring your 3D glasses? Because then otherwise we can't watch the movie together.
They just need to have one that somehow attaches into a case for a cell phone. Everyone brings their cell phones, even to movies, which you're not really supposed to do. But
maybe if you have 2 cameras on your cell phone, you can watch the movie in 3D.
Oh,
on your phone.
Because that doesn't require glasses.
Right, you just hold your phone up the whole time you're watching the movie.
oh yeah, that wouldn't annoy people.
No. Well, if everybody in the theater is doing it.
It's the future. Right?
It's the future, exactly.
Oh, my Lanta.
Oh, man. Speaking of future, is that the name of the segment?
I haven't figured out.
Okay, we don't have a name for this segment, but...
we're going to talk about Kickstarter.
Kickstarter. So this is a very interesting product from the Kickstarter, and... still got over a month to go. It's called the iSteady. It's a compact stabilizing snap-in mount for the iPhone 4. The best way to describe this after watching the video would be, it's like a cane, a walking cane, but it's got a handle, and it pivots on the inside of the handle.
Is it like a pimp cane?
Yes, if your pimp has an iPhone 4. Yeah.
Well, see, there you can see in the video, there's a handle. Right,
Yeah.
and that moves around, so the video is steady on an iPhone. And if you've used an iPhone or a lot of cell phones, there's a lot of wobble, and with the rolling image, the shutter effect, the rolling shutter effect.
Oh yeah.
So the idea is that you have some nice steady video, and that particular handle has a telescoping weight that comes down, which allows you to have much more control. So here's a guy going down the stairs with an iPhone, and it actually looks pretty good. Now,
it does.
the downside about this is that right now it looks like it's an iPhone 4 product only, which is kind of bad timing.
He missed the memo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I could definitely see, for instance, I would see us using this when we go to conventions. Like when Leo's walking around by himself, because he did this last year. Lisa's like, you watch him, make sure he doesn't get lost. I'm like, yes, ma'am. And he was walking around all these different booths like, ooh, this is pretty, I like it. And with his cam, he was even on, running around with it, like, ooh, look at this, ooh, look at this. And that'd be something where it'd be nice if it was on a Steadicam, so we could have brought it back to here, had it put on YouTube for inside stuff, and it's a better quality. It's something where you're not, with the Blair Witch Project, and you're gonna get sick.
So the device or the attachment that Leo was using was hourly, which actually gave him a wide angle attachment, and that worked really well.
I think you might be able to combine those things.
Well, of course you have to get the girls in that are,
Well, if you're going to be taking video of something,
yes.
what else are you going to do?
Besides that one guy.
If you put in $59 or more, you get an assembled iSteady. That's what they call it. And if you pay $35 or more, you get one that you have to put together yourself. So, I mean, if you're interested in the project, we put a link in the chat room. You could probably take a look for iSteady. Probably do a search for it on Kickstarter. This thing has 38 days to go. It has a long way to go. They're trying to make $50,000. They didn't contact us or anything. I was just looking up interesting projects.
The Kickstarter.
Is it my eyes that are doing this, or it's pretty jittery?
Well, that's a function of the iPhone. The other thing is when it comes to Steadicams or building these kinds of rigs, what I found is that it takes practice to get good at it. Just because you have a steady hold.
Make me nauseous right now.
Oh yeah. Just because you have
Don't watch the video.
Don't look.
Just because you have a steady hold doesn't mean you're going to have perfectly smooth video until you learn how to properly use this thing. Learn how to balance it. So I think it'd be good because it looks portable. It looks like it'd be fun to use. But hopefully he'll build several different cases for other phones.
Yeah, exactly. If the attachment is adjustable somehow in the future.
If you think $60 is too expensive, take a look at things from what's that company, Manfrotto? There's some really super expensive stuff out there for the most basic things you think of, like a shoulder mount or any of these do-it-yourself stuff. So
a Steadicam, a basic Steadicam,
proper one, or
the actual brand is actually about $900.
On to communications, where we talk about your emails or voicemails, or we play them. You can contact us at ionswit@gmail.com or call us at 321-22-OTHER. The best phone number ever, 321-22-OTHER.
Brilliant.
I should have just used it for myself. So we have 2 voicemails. Jeff, could you play those? Through the monitors.
What's up, hey? Hey, Iyaz, Tony, Liz, good job in the news show In Other News. I hope to see it go to mainstream. Bye.
Well, thank you, nameless person. And we have a second voicemail from another nameless person. It's coming, I promise.
I'm a viewer of your TWiT network, I have a question. I'm trying to get to your network on my view box here, and the Anchor doesn't seem to have your channel on it. I was wondering how to get to the TWiT so that I can watch it on my my view box here. Is there any could you maybe send me a letter telling me how to get to your I'm sitting here in front of my television, and I can't get to the TWiT. If you could tell me how to get my view box to the TWiT, that'd be much appreciated. You can forward that letter to me immediately. That would be much appreciated. Thank you, Liz, for helping me out. Bye.
Okay, so Liz, can you help out this
Liz.
poor demented gentleman who's trying to get TWiT on his view box?
I swear, when I heard that on my phone, because you left it on my work line, I didn't remember the.
I didn't hear that either. I think that might have been a
transfer,
a compression issue. But I think that we can make that happen if you get a Roku box.
We should do a telephone off, or something.
We're gonna have to call this person back and tell them if you're watching the TWiT right now. If you get something like a Roku box, you can go ahead and watch the TWiT on your view box.
Yes.
Or almost any device, actually. So we got that. On to the little guys, the tiniest stories of the week. These little footnotes, they're so small, but we wanted to mention them.
Mm-hmm. So, Google Plus, it became public. Did you not know that? I knew that. Haha. Google Plus became open to all on September 20th, and according to Paul Allen, Plus grew by 30% in only 2 days. Ancestries.com, Paul Allen, is the guy who's been coming up with the Google Plus stats everyone reports by analyzing names.
Every time you hear Google Plus stat, it's always by Paul Allen. He's not the guy from the co-founder of Microsoft. He's just some other fellow. The first Tegra 3 powered tablet has been spotted. The ZTE T98 has been spotted running on the quad-core processor in China. Yay. So if you wanted 4 cores in your tablet, you're not going to get it just yet unless you're in Hong Kong or Taiwan, because that's where it's supposed to land first. So ZTE getting the first Tegra 3.
Do you want to make your Microsoft Windows Phone better?
Yes.
Yes, me
Maybe.
too. Microsoft announced on Wednesday that the availability of a new suggestion box for feedback and feature requests concerning the Windows Phone. This suggestion box is open for everyone to use, though Microsoft warns that it will be moderated for
You can't just say I want iOS on Windows Phone. You can't say I want Android compatibility on there. I guess you could, but I think they might rip that away.
Yeah.
And a CERN.
Yeah, it's a CERN experiment.
A CERN experiment showed that
neutrinos seem to have traveled faster.
Neutrinos seem to be traveled faster than the speed of light, which was thought to be the cosmic speed light. Yes. The U.S. lab, I wish I had read this last night. Fermilab. Then I would have done my little pronouncing thing that I did last time. Fermilab is going to try to replicate the results of the CERN experiment.
So what I will say is that they're going to retest the whole neutrino thing, because if neutrinos are faster than the speed of light, physics textbooks have to be rewritten like crazy. Business Insider reports that Yahoo co-founder Jerry Yang is taking a more active leadership role in the company. Now, Yahoo, if you didn't notice, I don't know how you didn't know this, they fired its CEO, but they haven't named a permanent replacement yet. Apparently, Yang isn't completely in control. There's still an interim CEO, and they have kind of dueling memos that might be a little inconsistent with each other.
Ouch. In the rumor we're waiting to see come true, Microsoft will partner with Verizon and Comcast once again to launch its fall update for the Xbox 360 to bring live TV to the game console.
You excited about this? Live TV on an Xbox 360, but you have to still work with Comcast?
Yeah, well, I have Comcast, but my Xbox is dead, so
you don't care. Xbox 360 dead. Would you get an Xbox 360 if it could be a cable box, effectively?
Well, actually, I'm going to have to get a PS or an Xbox at some point, because my favorite game of all time, Marvel vs. Capcom, is not on Nintendo. So I have to get one of those. And after the whole PS getting hacked so many times, I'm probably going to go with the Xbox. Yes, especially since wasn't there a R2-D2 version?
There is an R2-D2
I'm
version.
going to get that.
Yeah, but it's so lame. It's lame because it's an Xbox 360 with
Don't you say it's lame.
with decals on it versus being a
Okay.
full-on R2D2 that has an Xbox in it.
It should be painted. I have the Halo 3 version, and
Yeah.
it's actually very nicely done.
Yeah.
And also, it's got special sound effects. Like if you open it up, it'll be better.
Don't you say that to me. Don't you say that to
There was a mod version of an R2D2. It's built like an R2D2. Okay, like it's the droid itself
That's glorious.
with a DVD drive that comes out for your Xbox. Now that makes more sense. But the 360 they're selling is a 360 with decals on it. So I think it's lame. Anyway,
It's a gold controller.
like 3PO.
Oh, I'm sold.
That's so lame. That does it for us. If there's a story you think that should get the spotlight, email us at iontwit@gmail.com, or you could leave us a voicemail like those two drunk gentlemen did at
I think one
321.
was senile.
Both. They could be both. I have no idea. I will not judge. At 321-22-OTHER. That's, again, you can call us at 321-22-OTHER. Until next week, keep your eye on the news.